It is September 14th, 2008. Monza is completely soaked as rain is pouring from the sky in torrents. Amidst this, Formula One is at its most chaotic. The championship is alive with tension. The big names such as Hamilton, Massa, and Raikkonen circle like vultures, eyeing glory. But in the middle of the chaos sits a 21-year-old kid from Heppenheim, Germany, racing for a team nobody believed in. His car is the Toro Rosso STR3, which has outdated parts and salvaged resources. It was in 2008 when the fairy tale of Sebastian Vettel began. It was the peak moment of his career when he became the most loved driver in Formula One history. But this fairy tale moment was washed out by rain in 2013. The legends were laughing at that young boy and his midfield car. But they didn't know that a star was going to be born in the middle of chaos and rain. In Malaysia, Vettel dared to disobey his team, turn his team member into a competitor, and show his superiority after the race. Fans gasped all around the world when they witnessed the extremely aggressive nature of Vettel. From that moment, he was the most hated driver in the Formula One world. But it is not as simple as you think. Sebastian Vettel is quite a complex character who has various layers. His career had seen many highs and lows. He went from most loved to most hated, and then, once again, most loved driver of the F1 world. Fans saw both his aggressive side and soft nature. The story of his rise, fall, and redemption serves as a lesson for every F1 driver and fan. In this video, I aim to do a character study of this driver, along with taking you through the journey of his career. So, let's start it. Rise of Sebastian Vettel. It was the 1990s, when in a small German town, boys in oversized helmets tore around in plastic toy carts, shouting "Schumacher" as they spun. Among these boys, young Sebastian was also present. Like every other F1 kid of that era, he dreamed of becoming the future Schumacher. That dream led him toward his first title in karting at the age of 10. It was 1997 when he was standing with his family, grinning innocently, and bathing in the glory of becoming a champion. Fast forward to 2003, 16-year-old Sebastian decided he was ready for single-seater racing. So, he shifted from karting to the F1 BMW series. His determination to prove himself was undeniable. He went on to win 18 out of 20 races in 2004. The world saw that the next Schumacher is in the making. The Red Bull Junior team was fast enough to claim him. By 2006, he was a test driver for BMW Sauber. In 2007, they took him to the United States Grand Prix, where he became the youngest driver in F1 history to score points. Later that year, he switched to Toro Rosso and scored 4th place at the Chinese Grand Prix. Until 2008, Sebastian Vettel was seen as a rising star in the world of Formula One. But it was that very year when the world got its first real glimpse of his championship potential. The rain-soaked Monza first saw how Vettel managed to put his mom's minibus in the pole position during qualifying. It was a shock for Hamilton, but he digested it in hopes that this kid would not be able to perform in the Grand Prix. But then, the rain poured, and so did Vettel's brilliance. Sebastian led from start to finish and didn't make any wrong moves in the wet conditions. Fans roared, Lewis was shocked, and the F1 world had one more driver to love. But they didn't know that this win was going to open the villain arc of Sebastian Vettel. Villain arc. As soon as Sebastian made a record, Red Bull promoted him to the main team, where senior Mark Webber was present. Webber sized him up from head to toe, smirked, and dismissed him with a glance. To him, this baby-faced newcomer with a cartoon duck voice was no threat. But what he didn't realize was that all the wins, all the records, had created a monster.
That's what he is.
From 2008 to 2013, the world saw how Sebastian mastered qualifying. He built leads that crushed hope and left no room for vulnerability. He gave Red Bull its first ever F1 victory in 2008 and instantly became its golden boy. He didn't just win, but humiliated the field. And he did it all with robotic expressions, loud radio messages, and a small smirk. Red Bull started showing favoritism, which annoyed other F1 players. One example of this favoritism is the 2010 front wing incident at Silverstone. At the Injustice, Mark Webber commented,
"Well done, Mark, you drove very well today. Great job. You won the British Grand Prix. Well done."
Fantastic, guys. Not bad for a number 2 driver. Cheers.
Lewis Hamilton went as far as claiming that Vettel's constant dominance could bore other F1 players and fans. This statement was proof that Vettel was seen as a villain in Formula One teams. With this, fans started realizing that Vettel had a god complex, not the messy, dramatic kind, but he had the spreadsheet version of a god complex. The media started feeling frustrated when Sebastian appeared in front of the world after winning a race and didn't bother to say more than 4 words to the journalist.
It was you, Sebastian, who got the one version of the new front wing. Can you both comment on what you feel about that?
I think the team is happy with the result today.
Yes, just like this, rolling his arms on his chest after blessing the world with his smugness. No wonder the press started throwing him those stingy side eyes. He won his first title in 2010 by stealing it right from under Alonso's furious eyebrows and Webber's Aussie dreams. And then he raised his finger. That damn finger solidified his arrogant image in the minds of F1 fans. That finger celebration was screaming, "Yes, I'm better than you. And yes, I know it."
Yeah, how would he doing that? He keep doing that play. It would be alright if it was straight. Do it like that, but it's like that for some reason.
By 2011, he was fully unhinged in a very German way. He grabbed pole position like it was his birthright, led every lap like he paid rent at the front, and then, with 30 seconds to spare, raised his finger to his competitor to annoy him. He wasn't racing, he was toying with people.
Obviously, at that time, I was the leading car, so usually the leader then dictates where to go.
Fans had had enough. The non-chaotic F1 races, the flawless dominance, the smug little smirk. It was all getting old. Sebastian's cold, calculated attitude didn't help either. So they did what any frustrated fan base would do. They started booing him. On every race, every podium, and every finger, he received boo, boo, boo.
Well, I mean, maybe the people don't like to see the same team or the same driver on the podium.
But his arrogant mind didn't care. He just smiled harder. The more they booed, the more he pointed that finger. That's not confidence. That's Bond villain-level arrogance with a side of bratwurst. This all hate reached its boiling point in Malaysia in 2013. Team orders were clear. He had to be a good teammate for his Red Bull and a friend. He had to show the world the strength of his team. But he ignored everything just because he wanted to win. His ego can't see his teammate winning, so he did this.
Sebastian, multi-map 2-1, multi-map 2-1.
Well, Sebastian, you need to give him the space, pole position.
It's wheel to wheel again for the 2 Red Bulls, Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber. Vettel on the inside. Has he now stolen the lead from his teammate?
After screwing his team orders, he gave a half-hearted apology that sounded more like a Bond villain after blowing up half the planet. "Yeah, sorry guys. I was a little naughty. Told you he was a favorite of Red Bull at that time."
In the end, Seb made his own decisions today and we'll have protection as usual, and that's the way it goes.
But this solidified the hate and intensified the booing from fans. Every F1 player and fan was ready to say goodbye to this perfect, dominant, and arrogant robot.
You're up here on the podium with you. Please don't do that. That's not correct. They're on a tour, they go around with a bus.
And then, Sebastian's karma starts. Alonso had already predicted his downfall way before it started.
When he will have a car like the others, if he wins, he will be one of the legends in Formula One. when one day he has a car like the others and he's 4th, 5th, 7th, these 4 titles will be bad news for him.
Downfall. In 2014, the V8 were gone, and with it, the Sebastian era also went. That season was the worst one for him, where he was beaten not by Hamilton or Alonso, but by a smiling, curly-haired Aussie who looked like he had just wandered in from a beach party. Daniel Ricciardo. That whole season, fans saw tears in Vettel's eyes, frustration on his face, and panicked radio messages. And suddenly, the ice-cold villain looked human.
We have to remember these days. But there's no guarantee that they will last forever. Enjoy them as long as they last. I love you guys.
Redemption arc. He shocked the whole F1 world by leaving his dynasty behind as a broken-hearted warrior. His move toward Ferrari was seen as the most vulnerable decision of his life after his first win in Ferrari Red in Malaysia 2015. Vettel wept on the radio.
Sì, ragazzi! Oh, mi senti? Mi senti? Grazie mille, ragazzi. Grazie, grazie, grazie! Dai, forza Ferrari!
His voice cracked, his soul spoke, and the world listened. Suddenly, the man they once booed was now beloved. But this sudden love wasn't just because he was a vulnerable driver who lost to Lewis in 2017, or who cursed himself after losing the 2018 game, but because he became quite relaxed after leaving Red Bull. It seemed like the weight of the world lifted from his shoulders. Now we see Inspector Sebastian on the camera, who meticulously inspects rival cars like Sherlock Holmes. We see him inspecting Lewis Hamilton's car often.
I heard you've been touching my car, is that...
Il me dit que t'as touché ma voiture, c'est
You're
vrai?
looking or touching? He said you were touching my car.
Il me dit que t'as touché ta voiture.
Ah.
Ah, tu l'as touché, d'accord.
Ah, all right.
Ah, d'accord, ok.
This sort of interaction develops a cute and humble friendship between Lewis and Vettel. Not only this, we could see him giving funny comments during interviews or sending controversial birthday invites to make new friends.
There was an invite for the torpedo, I saw it. But
Torpedo.
that's what Seb called him kinda last year.
He would take his notebook to every interview and fact-check journalists. This makes everyone laugh around him. Moreover, we saw Professor Sebastian, who started picking up trash on the tracks. He helped dismantle grandstands, stood up for LGBTQ+ rights in Hungary, wore climate change awareness shirts on the grid, and mentored Mick Schumacher. And in 2022, he made every driver and F1 fan weep by announcing his retirement. In just 10 years, he went from being booed to becoming the heart of the sport. Every driver, including Lewis, posted tributes, because Vettel won the World Championship with grace.
I see him as such a legend of our sport, and when we talk about legends, there's not many that I count as legends, if I'm being honest. But he's at the top of that.
What are your thoughts about him? Do share with me in the comments section.